How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today we are going to be discussing UFC 293 Adesanya vs. Strickland, which is going down on Saturday, September 9th. Let's get right into the first of 12 fights. First fight of UFC 293, Kevin Josette versus Kiefer Crosby. Both these guys are debuting. Kevin Josette, 8-2, 30 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach. I had to do some off-road research, Tapology, YouTube some of his old fights. Josette is a ground fighter. 4 TKOs, I think 2 or 3 of them are via ground and pound. 4 decisions. One of his 2 losses is actually to JDM on the regional scene. I thought that was pretty cool. Josette thrives on the ground. He'll try and take it to the ground. His stand-up is, for a lack of better terms, dead. He's super stiff. He keeps his hands really low. He's super slow. The only really good thing that I saw with his stand-up was like his kicks. He has some decent leg kicks in his arsenal. He does have some decent ground and pound, decent stamina. Yeah, he's just kind of bland. We'll move on to Kiefer Crosby. He's a fucking juggernaut. He's a slugger. He has 5 KO TKOs on his career. He actually has a KO win over fucking Alex Cowboy Oliveira when Alex got cut from the UFC. Great power. He's quick with his kicks. He's kind of just quick like everywhere. He does throw oblique kicks, which I think is very, important to mention because those are really fucking damaging. Brutal elbows and ground and pound. He is a pressure fighter. He will pressure Kevin as long as he can. He does have submission offense, so if Kevin even wants to get it to the ground, he's going to have a tough time with Kiefer. Kiefer's a big dude. He's just kind of wide. My pick is going to be Kiefer Crosby by second round TKO. I think he's going to clip Kevin Josette when he's got his hands down. He's going to drop him, and he's going to finish him with some brutal-ass elbows. Let's move on to the next fight on UFC 293. It's going to be Shane Young versus Gabriel Miranda. Start with Shane Young, 4 fights in the UFC, 2-4. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, Jesus Christ. Shane Young missed weight for this fight by, I think, 3.5 pounds. It's just not good. At this point in your UFC career, when you're down this big, you gotta pull out all the strings. Shane's gonna try to keep it standing. He has decent stand-up, some nice jabs and straights, but other than that, he doesn't really bring much. You can even counter him on the feet. I mean, Ludwig Klein did it fucking beautifully. Shane, I personally believe, is the worst city kickboxing fighter on the roster currently, other than maybe someone that we're going to cover later. He can definitely land something in this fight, but let's just get to Gabriel Miranda. Gabriel, prior to his fight with Benoit Saint-Denis, was a pretty high prospect, I'd say. All 100% finish rate, 15 submission wins. He's a little chinny, but maybe that's because Benoit Saint-Denis hits like a fucking fusion reactor. His stand-up isn't great, but if he gets it to the ground, it's chalked. And I think he's going to get this fight to the ground. I think he's going to take Shane Young down, and he's going to sub him in the first round. So mark it down. Gabriel Miranda by first round. I'll go rear naked choke. Why not? Next fight on UFC 293. Alright. Blood Diamond. Let's get right into this. Blood Diamond, pretty good. Stand up. Cool nickname. Black cardio, terrible ground game. But man, does he have heart. He's 0-2 in the UFC. Against not even like... The Orion Kosi loss is strange, but you can't even fault him for Jeremiah Wells. We've seen how he's done other than the Carlston loss, you know what I'm saying. Jeremiah has been fucking electric in the octagon. And they paired Blood up with fucking Charlie Radke, who is a pure wrestler, who is really good on the ground. He's got submissions. He's somewhat even decent on the feet. He's quite slow though on the feet. Yeah. But here's the thing with Charlie. He has the gas tank of a fucking heavyweight, apparently. If you look at his fight with, God, I don't even remember the guy's name. It was like Voltronamo or something. He gassed fucking quick. And he almost finished the fight, but he gassed out. I really want to pick Blood Diamond. I really do. And I'm going to. I'll pick Blood Diamond by unanimous decision. I think Charlie will probably win round 1, round 2 will be close, and round 3 will be all blood diamond. Next up on UFC 293, we have Nasrat Haqparast versus Landon Quinones. Let's start with Nasrat. He's 6-4 in the UFC, 9 KO wins across his career. He's sort of a veteran. He has wins over John McDessie, who fights later on in the card, Rafa Garcia, who's blowing up right now silently, Joaquin Silva and Mark Jacasey. Pretty good company to have wins over. Nasrat is mostly a stand-up guy. He likes to throw the jab out there, throw some power rights behind it. He might clinch against the fence often. Landon Quinones was on the 31st season of The Ultimate Fighter. If you remember that episode where Conor McGregor literally like obliterates this dude's body with a body kick, that's Landon Quinones. He was winning the fight against Jason Knight, I think, and then he got fucking submitted. He's got solid stand-up, 5 KOs. I think he's a young guy. He's 27. Not even that young against Nasrat. Nasrat's he looks old. He looks like tiny Kelvin Gastelum. This fight's going to be entertaining because Nasrat's fight are usually pretty good. I'll go Nasrat Haqparast by unanimous decision across 3 rounds. I think he's just going to kind of style on Landon Quinones until the end of the fight. Next fight on UFC 293, we have Jamie Mullarkey versus John McDessie. Jamie Mullarkey, let's start with him. Good boxing. Somewhat chinny, not really. He just kind of, most of the Australian guys have suspect chins, other than, the top guys. He doesn't like to grapple, not really his thing. He will clinch and throw like Thai knees and elbows and shit, but other than that, he doesn't like to do it. Decent cardio. Some of his notable wins are Michael Johnson, apparently. That fight was weird. Karma Worthy, Devontae Smith, Francisco Prado, which the Prado fight was kind of just given to Jamie. Jamie's gonna look to keep the fight standing, and he has a guy that's willing to do that in John McDessie. 9 KOs. He's been in the UFC since 2010. Holy shit. Notable wins: Ignacio Bahamondes, Ross Pearson, Abel Trujillo. If you remember that guy, that's a guy that's Khabib kind of just like held down and was elbowing him while holding his head. John McDessie has some decent boxing, I guess you could call it that. Decent clinch game. He's a very slow fighter. They're kind of like opposites. Jamie kind of likes to have a pace. John, not so much. He's tiny Robert Whittaker, but not as exciting. I'll go with Jamie Mullarkey by 3rd round TKO. I think maybe Jamie will clip him later on because John McDessie, he's able to get hit quite often. Jamie Mullarkey has some spark in his hands, so I think if Jamie clips him later on in the fight, I think John will go down. Next fight on UFC 293. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. Jack Jenkins versus Shepe Mariscal. Holy fuck, this is going to be a good one. Let's start with Jack motherfucking Jenkins. Beautiful leg kicks. I mean, that's kind of what he's known for in the MMA community is his leg kicks. Slick kickboxing. He includes strikes, hides the leg kicks, tries to at least. Kind of a mad gas tank. The Jamal Emmers fight kind of exposed it a little bit. Jamal arguably won that fight too. Doesn't have crazy power, Jack Jenkins, but he strings combos together enough to hurt opponents. And the leg kicks add up over time. He's on a 9-fight win streak. Huge prospect out of Australia. We move on to Chepe. Holy shit, is this guy entertaining. Insane is what we describe Chepe. Crazy power. His fight with fucking Trevor Peek is one of my favorite fights of the year so far. He can string takedowns together. When Trevor was rushing in, he immediately just dropped for a double leg, took him down. He didn't hold down Trevor Peek, which was kind of weird, but it is what it is. He has a chin of steel, though, from that Trevor fight. Holy shit. The problem with Chepe is, no offense, he's not crazily skilled. Trevor Peek just isn't like the greatest guy to go up against to show true skill, because Trevor's kind of like just like the biggest like redneck in the sport. Fun, but not smart. This fight is going to be very entertaining, don't get me wrong, but I think Jack is going to show a little bit of levels. I think he's going to school Chepe, and he's going to land more accurate shots than Trevor Peek when throwing fucking standing hammer fists. I'll go Jack Jenkins by decision. I think he'll beat Chepe across the board. 30-27, maybe 29-28. I've been taking a lot of time to explain most of these. I'll make this one short and quick. We have a confident pick right here. Carlos Ulberg versus Dawoon Jun. Carlos Ulberg is next up. He started off rough with the Kennedy and Njoku loss, but ever since then he's been beautiful in the octagon. I mean, great power, nice kickboxing. The left hook of Carlos Ulberg sets people down at an alarming rate. Not as much as like Alex Pereira's, but it's noticeable. Amazing setups. I mean, the Nicolay knockout is possibly one of my favorite knockouts I've seen in light heavyweight. It's just, just the jab, and then he brings the, This guy's good. Dawoon Jun, false prophet. People thought this guy was going to be really good. He fucking drew with Sam Alvey. 2 losses in a row to Devin Clark. Dustin Jacoby's not a bad loss, let's be honest. He has nice elbows. We saw that in the Kennedy fight. He rocked them, just started elbowing his fucking head in. He leaves openings, though. We saw that in the Dustin Jacoby fight. He taunts a little bit, and then he'll just, like, stand there and have his hands a little low, and then you'll be able to clip him. I don't think he's ready for the fast, precise pace of Carlos. I think Carlos is going to pick apart Dawoon Jun, and I think he's going to knock him out in the first round. So my pick is Carlos Ulberg by first round KO. Lock it in, baby. And here we are at UFC 293's pay-per-view opener. And yes, this is a fucking pay-per-view opener. Tyson Pedro, nice leg kicks, or kicks in general. He has a good kicking game. He had a very disappointing performance against Modestas Bukauskas in his last fight. Just didn't do good. He gassed out really fast. Got a killer mentality. He's got good strikes. Then there's Anton, who pleasures everybody, apparently.
Say to the pleasure man.
You're gonna taste the pleasure.
I'm gonna taste the pleasure man.
He's been matchmaked with fucking killers. Like, his matchmaking, fucking Jailton Almeida and Vitor Petrino. I mean, holy shit. He's good on the feet, but lacks on the ground. He has some good counters and a hell of a chin. He was landing on Vitor a little bit, but in the Jailton fight, you could see that it was just complete domination. Tyson Pedro doesn't like to go to the ground, but Anton, this fight could go either way. I feel like someone is going to get finished. If I had to say someone is going to get finished, I'd say that it's Anton. I'll go Tyson Pedro, third round, KO. Fuck it. This card just stinks so bad, man. Next fight on the pay-per-view portion of UFC 293, Justin Tafa versus Austin Lane. Justin Tafa is the definition of kill or be killed. He's 3-3 in the UFC. He has nice counters. We saw that in the Parker Porter fight, of course. He's a little short for Austin Lane, though. So he's going to have to rush in, as he traditionally does. He countered really well in that Parker Porter fight, but you'll see Justin Tafa traditionally run in. He's got nice kicks. He got, what was the head kick KO or some shit over fucking, I forgot who he got it over. But it was fucking cool. Justin Tafa's just a bad dude, man. Austin Lane, he's just tall. He's a big dude. Good ground game. He's very strong. He's going to look to keep range, clinch, and try and take down Justin Tafa. Throw some very heavy right hands far away from Justin Tafa because he's going to be so scared to engage with him. This one could either be really boring or really fun for like 2 minutes. I'm going to go with my original pick when this fight was originally slated. I'll go Austin Lane by first round submission. I think he'll get Justin Tafa down, submit him. I'd say he'd do it with like an arm triangle, just to call it safe. I actually really like this fight. Manel Kape versus Felipe Dos Santos. This fight's gonna be pretty solid. Manel Kape, is he a new star brewing in the UFC? I mean, his performance at that fucking press conference was electric. Just throwing bottles, being mean to people way bigger than him. I mean, holy shit. Beautiful stand-up game, well-versed on the ground. Nice kicks and combos to add to it. He also does specialty moves like flying knees and bullshit. He knocked out O'Day with a flying knee. He can lock up submissions. We saw it with the David Dvorak fight. I forgot what it was, but he locked. It was like a Kimura lock, I think. And I'm surprised that David didn't fucking tap. It looked like his shoulder blade was about to pop out of his fucking body. Manel Kape is really fucking good. I fucking wish him and Kai France fought. That fight would have been so fucking good, man. But moving on to Felipe Dos Santos. He's young, quick. He has a good submission game. He's a traditional Brazilian. That's all I could really give you. I think Felipe is too young. He's 22 years old, man. Give him some room to grow, man. I think Manel Kape is going to demolish this kid, sadly. I think he's going to do it dominantly. I see him getting a second-round TKO. I think Felipe will survive the first by using his ground skills, but he'll be gassed come round 2, and Manel will eventually finish him. I don't want to say brutally, but I think it's going to be fucking brutally, sadly. So, co-main event time, baby. Tai Tuivasa versus Alexander Volkov. Holy shit, what is this fight? Let's start with Tai Tuivasa, beautiful leg kicks. I mean, one of the main keys of Tai Tuivasa's game are his leg kicks. I think he didn't really use them in his last 2 fights. He used him a little bit against Ciryl. I mean, he couldn't really use him against Pavlovich, let's be honest. He's a brawler, man. At heart, he just loves to fucking brawl. He can land on better opponents. Like we saw it with Ciryl. Ciryl is a better striker than Tai Tuivasa, and Tai Tuivasa kind of just fucking dinked him up. He knocked him down. He finds his way in. His chin is somewhat suspect. I mean, everyone at heavyweight gets knocked out. It fucking happens. Body will be open. I want to say that. The body will be open. Ciryl exposed this of Tai Tuivasa. His body is always open. Great power from Tai Tuivasa as always. He's athletic for a big boy. He can throw head kicks. He can throw flying knees. The leg kicks are sharp. He's a big dude, man. But we get a bigger guy in fucking Alexander Volkov. Holy shit. Tall. 6'7". Accurate puncher at 6'7", may I add. Uses his length well. I think a big example of it was it Walt Harris? I had to look that one up. I had to stop that one. Yeah, it was fucking Walt Harris. He beat his body up bad. But Alex, he picks his shots well. He doesn't rush in. Underrated as fuck. No one talks about Drago. It pisses me off. Punishing power. I mean, the Alistair Overeem fight was proof of it. Jairzinho Rosenstrike is proof of that. Alexander Romanov is proof of that. I think Alexander Volkov is improving as time goes on. People aren't going to give him the credit he deserves just because of one little knockout against Derek Lewis, which he was winning that fight the entire time. I think Alexander Volkov is going to sadly beat Tai Tuivasa. I love Tai Tuivasa. I think Alex is going to finish him in the second round. I think he's going to beat him bad, and he's going to finish him in the second round via TKO. Tai can definitely land, don't get me wrong, but I think Alex is just going to punish him for rushing in, making silly mistakes, and he's going to knock out Tai Tuivasa for a 3rd time in a row. Here we are, everybody, the fight everyone's going to be waiting for. Israel, the last stylebender, Adesanya versus Sean Strickland, or Deshaun Strickland. Let's start with the champion, of course. Israel Adesanya's kickboxing is elite. It's high level. The only guy that maybe rivals it in the entire UFC is probably his biggest rival in his career, Alex Pereira. He uses leg kicks well. He uses his range. We've seen it time and time again. He will wait to counterpunch. Israel waits. He is not going to press you. He is going to wait for you to make a mistake, land a punch, play on the outside, land leg kicks, and he's just going to go off points. Underrated power, though. We saw that in the Alex Pereira rematch. People forget that Israel hits hard. I don't understand why people forget it. He hits hard as fuck. It's just that he doesn't try to. He isn't trying to knock out his opponents. He has swift kicks. A kick that I want to point out in this fight is a question mark kick. I think Israel will land this, and I think he might rock Sean Strickland with it. Just going to throw that out there. And Israel, of course, can go 5 rounds easy. He's done it so many times in his career. Let's be honest. It's a walk in the park for him. Let's go to the fucking American Psycho. Sean Strickland. He is a maniac. well on the ground. People bring up his ground game with this fight. If he tries to take down Israel Adesanya, maybe it's a different fight. Maybe the Alex Perez fight's a different fight if Sean Strickland uses his grappling. But of course, Sean Strickland thought he could kickbox with arguably one of the greatest kickboxers in our generation, in our lifetime. Decent guard for punches, like defense-wise, his Philly shell that he runs. He can pat away punches, unless you're Alex Pereira and just throw a left hook and kill him. Not for kicks, though. I think the Dan Hardy video was a really good video to show that Sean Strickland does have a big hole with the kick defense. Not great power from Sean Strickland, of course. He's more of a volume striker. If he's going to knock someone out, it's going to be because they're tired, and he's just going to fucking kill them with volume. He usually outlasts his opponents. I don't think he's going to outlast Israel Adesanya. Decent combos, and he pushes the pace. Sean Strickland is going to be walking forward the entire fight against Israel until the third round. I think Israel Adesanya is going to knock out Sean Strickland in the third round. As much as I don't want the Chinaman to win, I want Sean Strickland to win, but I have to be logical here, right? Sean Strickland isn't presenting anything new that Israel hasn't seen. This is, I feel, a walk in the park for Israel Adesanya. I think anything other than a finish, like a decision, is going to be a disappointment for Israel Adesanya. Unless he, starches him every round, 50-45, 50-44 maybe, then maybe I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit either way. That's a terrible way of putting that. But if Israel wants to make a statement, he's going to have to finish Sean Strickland, I feel. Sean Strickland, this should be an easy fight for Israel Adesanya. So, yeah, third round KO, Israel Adesanya. Lock it in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm UFC Thoughts. These are my picks and breakdown for every fight at UFC 293, Adesanya vs. Strickland. My confident picks are as follows: Carlos Ulberg, Alexander Volkov, and Israel Adesanya. The pre-card rating for UFC 293 is 3 out of 10. I think this card fucking sucks. The only fights that really save it are 4. The other ones are kind of just filler fights that could have been on the fucking prelims of a fight night card. This could have been way better, but, it was rushed. Do what you have to do. See you guys after the fights for what's next, I guess. Have a great rest of your day, guys.